Well, buckle up, folks, because this is going to be a longer video to set you off for the weekend. We're going to be doing it in two parts. The first part is about Harry and Meghan's baseball turn up and the backlash that has come from this. And then I'm going to be discussing a little bit more about the pumpkin patch and some of the things that I have found out. If you want a shorter video, then head across to my Bite-Size Tea channel, but this is going to be exploring this on a slightly deeper level. So if you've got the time for a long form video, then this is the one for you, or you can break it down in two parts because it'll be part 1 and part 2. So as you're still here, welcome to this wonderful community we're building here, which is based on finding out the truth about what is really going on with the royal family, especially regards to Harry and Meghan. Go grab yourself your drink of choice, whatever that may be. Sit back, relax as we get into some tea with some therapeutic knowledge. You can see I'm wearing my hat. No, my bat headband. That's what I was trying to say. I'm not wearing a hat. Just obviously because it's Halloween tomorrow. I know that a lot of people in America celebrate this, but there are places in the world that don't necessarily celebrate it as much. The UK is a bit hit and miss, and I'm not sure about other places in the world. I think Australia is very similar to us. But anyway, I think it's fun. I think it's for the kids. I don't want to look too seriously and too deep into it, so anyway. Kicking you off for the weekend, I thought I'd do a slightly longer video because I wanted to explore a little bit more of the AI, because I did a shorter video on this on Bite-Size Tea and I got a lot of feedback and people wanted me to do a little bit of a deep dive, and some other things have come out since doing that video. So I'm going to put it up on here, the video that I did. I know some of you may already have seen it, and that will be in part 2, and you can skip it if you have, but I am going to be talking a little bit more about it, and also some of the other things that have come up for me since putting that video out. So the first one, part 1, is going to be discussing their turning up to the baseball game, which is the Dodgers versus the Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays are Canadian and they're classed as a bit of an underdog. And I kind of like it because it's almost like a David and Goliath type situation. And I love it when you have somebody that is just really that are small, that don't always get the notoriety that they deserve. And then suddenly they climb up the ranks and they work really hard, something that Meghan knows nothing about. And they're just there in the big leagues, and they deserve it, and so of course Harry and Meghan, who literally would go to the opening of an envelope if it meant they would get their face in the media, because they want their privacy, and they've turned up to a game and again no children. Now, most of you who follow me know my thoughts on the children. And I know I get repetitive, and I know some people say, stop being so repetitive. But people need to realise that I do have new people coming on the channel, that if I say something that you guys all know, those people are going to be like, huh? What are you talking about? I don't get it. So I do have to slightly, at times, reiterate things and repeat things for those people that are joining on the channel. So for those people that are joining and haven't heard me say this, I am of the belief that the boy is here in the UK with his real mother. I believe that Harry had an indiscretion or something happened, whether there was a surrogate involved and the surrogate chose to keep the child. And I also now believe that they have adopted a little girl, because this is why we did not see hide nor hair of this little girl until she decided to come on Instagram. That's not a coinkydink. And so everything they do really, to me, shows that they don't have the family dynamic that they're telling us they do. They don't behave like parents. They are constantly away from their children. Now, I understand if you're working royals, even Prince William and Catherine manage to scale down things or do things in relation to their family. Like they take time off, you know, they prioritize their family while still also, you know, just really creating people to know that they are there supporting the monarchy, and part of that being that Prince William is obviously going to be king at some point. So if these two can manage it, and we have seen the children, why is it Harry and Meghan somehow cannot seem to manage it? You know, if you're going to fall in the category, like say the mainstream media, that believe that they have two children living with them, why is it that nobody questions the fact that they are constantly, needlessly away from their children? You know, you have Prince William that takes his son to football games. We have even that Princess Charlotte has gone to a women's football game. Catherine takes Charlotte to tennis. But yet, whenever these two go anywhere where they could take children, they don't. Now, at the end of the day, Archie is of the age where he would enjoy a baseball game. So if these two children live with them and they are this family, then why is it that, as I've said before, that nobody has ever seen them out and about as a family? And I'm going to get to that a little bit more in the AI, but this is also in reference to the fact that this boy was not taken to this game. And nobody says a dicky bird about it. You know, you've got families there, children there, but nobody says, well, hang on a minute, how comes they're on another date night? Because that seems to all they ever do. It's not that they've just turned up to a game. It's a date night, because we have to create the illusion that we're happy together. You've only got to look at the body language when Harry is potentially doing something he doesn't particularly want to do, or he's just not happy with her. He wears his emotions on his face. But the biggest thing for me was that, and has a lot, I mean, I've had a few emails about this where people have said, why wasn't Harry supporting the Blue Jays? You cannot have it both ways. You cannot have the fact that you are wanting to utilize the royal title dukedom and then turn up to a game which is the Blue Jays, which is Canadian, and your father is head of the head of the Commonwealth, and Canada is part of that. So even if you'd have had, say, Meghan supporting the Dodgers and then you've got Harry supporting the Blue Jays, I mean, that could have been a bit tongue-in-cheek, fair enough. But you've had Meghan supporting the Blue Jays before, when she was in Canada and when she was in Toronto, because she was filming Suits. It served a purpose for her to support the Blue Jays. And this is what Meghan does. She does not have any loyalty. I'm doing a disservice here, both of them. They have no loyalty to anyone other than themselves. So to me, she only supported the Blue Jays back when she was up and coming because it suited a purpose to seem like she was supporting Canada, because she was in Toronto, she was filming Suits, and so she wanted it to seem like she was really supportive of Canada. Like when they're over in Invictus, when it's in Canada, they support Canada. You know, they do things and they make it seem like, oh, we so love Canada. Every time they do something, when you look at the fact that, you know, especially because she says, oh, Canada feels like home. Well, if you look at the way that she's been, when she's been in Colombia, when she's been in Nigeria, it all feels like home to her. Don't forget that she's 43% Nigerian. This is what she does. She supports whatever it is in that moment that serves the purpose. And Harry is exactly the same. So to sit there and not only that, take front row seats, VIP seats, where you've got LA legends in the back behind them who should have sat there. And for some reason, the media went on and on and on about these two, constantly homing in on them. So of course it's come out that they were booed. And there's been, obviously, most people are agreeing with this. And of course, then there's the cult fan base. And then there's the people that want to support them that go, no, that's just perception. Well, I've listened to it. And here is the clip here.
Meghan always knows what's going on. She's got a hand over her mouth, so I think she's trying to hide something in that moment. But I think she's very aware of they're being filmed. He's aware as well. And I think it's at this sort of moment where they're sort of hearing some cheers. And if you watch, like, her mouth opens, so she feels quite happy about that. But then you see there's a moment where her face slightly changes here, right here. That's the moment they start hearing the booing. They're very aware of that, and Harry tries to save face.
Now, I don't know about you, but I can definitely hear boos. Now, okay, yes, there are some cheers, which is pretty standard for a place like that, but the fact that you can hear boos in a crowd that large, that tells us that a lot of people were booing. Because if you had the odd few boos, the cheers would have drowned those boos out, but they didn't. And so you're hearing boos, and I can definitely hear it. And this isn't just because this is what I'm looking for. You can definitely hear it. If you have ears, you can hear it. And if you look at Harry's face, which I've said in that clip, you can see there's almost like this flicker where I think he registers that they're being booed, and he sort of laughs it off. And I think this is because he's embarrassed, because he realizes they're being booed. Now, Meghan, interestingly, turns away from the camera. Now, we know that Meghan is a camera hogger, but it's interesting when they're being booed, she doesn't particularly look at the camera very much. These two are not liked. They're not respected. They're not liked. And I don't know when it's actually going to get through to them. And I do wonder if maybe it has, but Meghan is a little bit more thick-skinned because of her narcissism, that she tends to just not really acknowledge it. Whereas I do feel that Harry would be more impacted by being booed at a game. You know, you have the fact that he didn't look particularly happy at the game. And again, this I think is another outing where they're attempting to show that they're together, because you've got to remember, they've created a lie. In my opinion, this marriage was not a marriage made of love. And I think that they are in this arrangement and they have had to make it work. And so there are times when Harry is probably fed up and sick and tired of it all, and that's why it shows on his face. And there are other times, probably when he hasn't been around her for a while, that they come together and he's just like, okay, you know, I can just put up with this. And he's at a baseball game, so it's like, okay, fair enough. But I think that these two have an arrangement now. And I don't believe they live together. And I've said this before. I think they live in separate places. I think they just come together to create the illusion of being a couple and still together in the marriage. And this is just another, I feel, another moment where it just shows the true feelings of people. People just don't respect them. And then, like I say, you've got them taking up VIP seats. I mean, when the camera pans around, because Brad Pitt was there, who else was there? Brad Pitt was there, and I think someone Marsden, I can't remember his name, but there were some celebrities there. And when the camera pans around to them, they're just talking to each other. They're not looking at the camera and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm so famous. They're just literally in conversation, or they're not even knowing that the cam, whatever you call it, is panned in on them. But the minute it pans in on Harry and Meghan, they notice. So to me, they're looking for it. But what I did like was, even though it did say at the bottom that it used their titles, which I just feel is really bizarre given that they're in America, and yet there are some commentators that still seem to refer to their royal titles. I understand if they're visiting, like when it's a state visit, I get that. But these two live there. They left the working royal life. So why do they still get referred to by their titles? But the commentator actually did say Meghan Markle. And what I do like is that nobody is calling her Meghan Sussex. So with this whole thing of her going, oh, Meghan Sussex now, nobody is actually buying that, and nobody calls her Meghan Sussex. So literally everyone just says Meghan Markle. That must irk her. But I would imagine that they have asked to have that title put on the screen. And it shows how really superficial they are, and how much they are so desperate for people to just keep being reminded of the fact that they're royalty. Now, obviously, what's funny is that the Blue Jays actually won. So of course people are saying that this is the Markle effect because she turned up, the Blue Jays won. Obviously that I know that that's probably a little bit silly, but you know, they did win. So I just look, I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. Until the royal family do something about these two, they are really going to keep bringing the royal family in disrepute, because it does look bad for the optics. You've got King Charles, who is head of the Commonwealth, and you've got his son, who uses royal titles, turning up to a game and does not even support the Blue Jays. You've got Meghan, who has supported, is it the LA Lakers? And she... And there's been an outrage about that. She has supported, like I say, well, I say supported, she's worn the Blue Jays cap when she was in Canada, but then didn't think to support them now. So it has caused an uproar. People are sick and tired of them. And I don't blame them. And I really, really don't blame them. You know, so like I've said, this woman, she only just serves herself. And I think the more they do these things, I think there's probably like, it kind of ticks more for like, no, what am I trying to say? So a lot of us see through them, but there's probably people on the fence. But every time they do something like this, those people on the fence kind of go, you know what? I get it. Now I see what people are saying about them. Now I see. You know, you've got people leaving left, right and centre. I think she's had 10 staff walk away now. And there's been another one recently that was only there for 3 months. And not everyone can be wrong. No matter how many times the cult squad try to cover up for her, at some point they're gonna have to say, well, not everyone can be lying. Not everyone could be just so against Meghan that they want to lie about her, because the facts are right there. You know, I mean, I certainly see it even when I put things up. People, you know, they're like, oh, you know, conspiracy theorists are out. But yet what I show is evidence. The evidence is there. They were booed. And even though, yes, you can hear some cheers, but at the end of the day, you're in a huge stadium. If you are hearing boos over that, in that crowd, that tells you there are a lot of people that booed, because otherwise the cheers would have drowned those boos out and you wouldn't have heard them. So I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. These two are just not liked, and they don't help themselves, because whoever, I mean, I'm starting to think they don't actually have a team behind them, because whoever is advising them it must really dislike them, because everything they do goes wrong. Everything. Her trip to Paris goes wrong because she did the Diana moment, and because then it come out that she wasn't invited. She invited herself. Everything she tries to do. And of course, this is also on top of the fact that she's just dropped her Christmas holiday products, which is marmalade, jam, honey, mulled wine now, and a candle or a couple of candles. You know, so to me, this is like, here's products that I haven't sold, but I'm going to add these in. I'm going to find some cheap mulled wine, stick it in one of my boxes, and some cheap candles, and here's my holiday special. Because to me, it's the same stuff. You know, she's probably taken the flour sprinkles as well and stuck a cinnamon stick in and been like, there's your mulled wine. I'm surprised she's not sprinkling that on something. I'm going to open up a mulled wine tea bag, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on something, because everyone wants mulled wine sprinkles at Christmas on their omelette or their pancakes. Wow. Oh, Emma, that's so bitchy. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. She just gets on my last nerve, honestly. Oh, professional head back on, Emma. Professional head back on. But yeah, you know, to me, it's just farcical what these two are doing. But yeah, but let me know what you think in the comments in regards to the game. What were your thoughts? What were your opinions? Yeah, let me know. And I'm going to get into part 2. But firstly, before I do, just a reminder to please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to join our community of finding the truth of what is really going on, that's not clickbait, that's not gossip. You know, I try to uncover the best way I possibly can. If you want to support my free therapy program, which is what I'm doing here, where the proceeds of all of my YouTube channels go to funding my free therapy program, which is for people who are financially struggling and want support and help. I also use the time and money to answer emails as best as I can. I get people that reach out to me in various ways to support, and I do this at no cost to them. So this is what you can do to help that. So you can super chat, you can become a member, you can treat me to a cup of coffee. There is a PayPal if you want to donate, but you don't have to. There's my bubble merchandise as well. If you also want to go and buy something for yourself, the proceeds of that also go to the free therapy program. You can follow me on the other platforms that I'm on. Bite-sized Tea is also monetized, and the proceeds from there go to the free therapy program. I'm also on TikTok, Lemonade. Where else am I? Facebook. You can come and join the Facebook page and you get extra stuff there. And I'm also on Instagram if you are over there. So please come and follow. All of the links that you need to everything is in the description box below. Don't forget to hype the video if you see the function, because that also does help the algorithm. But if none of that, if you are struggling financially, then as I always say, look after yourself first and foremost. And all I can then ask of you is please just like, watch, share, and support the channel. That's all free, doesn't cost you a thing. So that being said, let's get to part 2 where I discuss the AI stuff that I have found. Right, so part 2 is discussing the AI aspect of Harry and Meghan. So I did a video on Bite-sized Tea, and so if you want, like I said, if you want the short form video, then go across to watch that because it's about 5 minutes long. But I am going to put it up on here. So if you've come off now and you don't want to kind of watch anything else, I would please suggest go and watch that video because it is very important. And I think it's important that we share these things because as much as I know that some of us know and some of us can see things, I think when you point things out in black and white, one thing to know it, but then to see it, as in like, I'm really seeing it, I'm having it explained to me. When I was looking at the pumpkin footage, one of the first things that struck me was how the children don't interact. Now, I don't know what families that have young children that don't have them interacting like together. Now we see, if you look closely, we see footage of them in the same shot, but they're not interacting together. And what I think they've done is they've taken different footage and they've spliced it together. Now, I have said that she's done this before. In fact, I've said this for years. I've said that she's been doing this, and I've said that she's certainly been doing things like this on her Instagram. But when you look at the pumpkin patch video, now I want you to, when you look at it, I want you to look at it with the eyes of the boy not being there, because it reminds me of that film. I don't know if you've ever watched that film, The Sixth Sense, and I've put a photograph up here, where you're watching this film and it's about this little boy who sees dead people, and he talks to one of the main characters, which is Bruce Willis. And at the end, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending is a kind of like, oh, wow ending, kind of like what it was for me. It was like, huh? And you go back and watch it because you're convinced, you're like, no, and I went back and watched it, and you can see that this certain character doesn't actually talk to anyone else other than this little boy. I'm sorry that I've just probably spoiled that for people. But anyway, it's an old film, so I imagine most people have watched it. But this is what it reminds me of. So when you're looking at the footage again, with the eyes of, imagine the boy's not there, there's no difference. Not one person interacts with the boy. The only sort of one that you see is when Meghan seems to reach out to put her arm sort of around him. And what I think is there was footage done a while ago, which is why we are seeing the boy never grow up. And I have said before that I think the boy is Harry's and I think he's in the UK, but I think it's possible he visits, because at the end of the day, this is still, if you're going to look at it, and I know that some people believe there are no children whatsoever. And I don't align with that. And I have explained why. Because it makes no sense to make up 2 children. I can understand making up one and having one that's real, but to make up 2, what do they gain from that? Because not only, it's one thing to have, say, 2 children that are either a surrogate or adopted in the line of succession, but to have 2 children that don't exist at all is I think is even just a little bit too bonkers for me. So, and I know that I can seem bonkers to people with my theories. So I don't buy that when Harry and Meghan were in the UK, they just woke up one day and said, you know what, let's just make up having a child. Let's convince the family to go along with it, all of the family, and let's create this lie to the world. And then not only that, then when they go to America, oh, let's do it again. No, just no. Even that is just wild. But I respect that people have their own opinions. But I will say that I don't believe both children are living with them. I don't believe that the girl existed actually until she was adopted at an older age. I think that they adopted a girl later, and which is why we're now seeing her on her Instagram quite a lot. But I do think that she's taking old footage of what she's probably got of the boy. And one of the footage, as I've explained in the video that I'm going to show you, is you see the boy running through a corn maze. Yet when you look at that footage, that footage looks identical to the Christmas card picture where you see him almost running towards Meghan. He's wearing the same jacket, same hair, albeit that it's coloured more red, same shoes. The only difference being is that he's wearing blue jeans. But you can change the colour of them. That's easy to manipulate. So I think that footage is old footage that they've taken perhaps maybe when, because we know that I believe that they have used August as well. So it's either old footage of August or it's potentially when the boy has visited or they've somehow got this footage. Either way, it's not real. Or in the time frame that they're putting it in, because it looks too identical to me. You then look at other bits of footage and you'll start to see it. So I'm going to show you the video now and then we're going to talk about it afterwards.
Interacting with each other, there's no laughing, no smiles, no nothing. It just looks very sad and lonely, like they've just done this for the photo op. I was trying to work out where I'd seen this footage before, and then I realised it's identical to the Christmas card. The only difference being is that the jeans are different. He's wearing the same coat, hair's the same, shoes the same. I think that picture on the right that was taken for the Christmas card was from a still from this footage, because he looks like he's mid-run. It's the same thing, but I think that they've coloured the jeans differently in that photograph. Even the children are not interacting with each other. This body language right here just seems way off to me. And I might be completely way off here, but it also looks to me that she's wearing 2 different coats, same style. The one on the right looks darker, and also her boots look different as well. So is this 2 separate occasions spliced together to make one? Even the girl looks very different. So what I've done is I have created a second picture, so you can see slightly overlaps, but this is more opaque. Now, when you this is supposed to be the same footage, the same day all of this was taken. One, her hair is a different colour. So this is one of two things. This was taken at a different time, different camera. So one of three things. Or, as some people have said, this is a wig and she's manipulating the hair color in some way. But when you look at this, see when you do that and you overlap it, you can see quite clearly that the hair of the girl on the left is longer. So when I drag it back, you can see where the hair sits on the girl on the right to the girl on the left. Now, looking at this, I'm playing devil's advocate here, this looks like the same girl. Because if you look at the hair is very, very fine at the bottom, and it's the same for the girl on the right. This is why I'm not entirely sure I believe this is a wig, because wigs generally are better conditioned than this. I do potentially believe that she's manipulating the girl's hair, but this looks like the same girl, but the girl on the right, this is younger footage. So this is footage of the girl younger. This girl is older because the hair is like almost like halfway down her back, whereas the one on the right is just below her shoulders, and you can see that quite clearly. When I overlap, you can see that the one on the right, the one on the left, the hair is longer to there. You can see it. Look at Harry in this footage. It is really, really weird. It's like he's not looking at them. It's almost like he's walking backwards without any reason. His hands look odd, like almost like he's been superimposed. This is another weird moment. Look, their hand holding looks odd as well. And then if you look closely at this one, Archie's arm looks green. So this is fake footage, in my opinion. You then have Marcus Anderson, who seems to be appearing a lot more, and he's carving. And then you watch as the boy seems to walk over, but there is no acknowledgement. Normally when a child walks over, you acknowledge them. It's natural. He doesn't. Absolutely nothing. So either this boy has been superimposed into this, or Marcus doesn't like the boy. Even Harry, who's supposedly their dad, is not doing this with his children. None of them. This is supposedly Doria, but again, nothing with the children. Who takes children to a pumpkin farm and doesn't sit with them to carve pumpkins? Now, I've put this in here again because I'm going to show you how easy it is to do AI. So this is the original photograph that they've put in. Now, watch in a minute as I'm going to add in a couple of other photographs that look real. These are AI. This is how easy it is to create AI. So you've got the fake one and real ones. So imagine I have just done this very quickly. So imagine what they can do with their money, their contacts, their means to keep something quiet and to create a fake family. Look how realistic that looks. So imagine if they wanted to create videos and photographs of fake children in fake scenarios, how easy it is to do it. In my opinion, they're gaslighting the world.
So the other thing that was picked up on as well, which I looked at as well, and other people noticed it, was that there's a moment in the footage where Harry is doing this weird backwards walk, and he's doing something very weird with his hands. Now, when you look at the baby mama video, it actually looks similar. Now, I couldn't find a frame by frame, like identical, but I would probably imagine that those two have rehearsed that dance and there's a different footage, because also as well, Harry is wearing similar clothing. The only difference being is he's got a cap on. So I would imagine that Harry, I think he wears a cap a lot because of the bald on top of his head. So I think he wears a cap a lot. So it's very possible that in that footage, the baby mama footage, in the other stuff that they've done, is that there's been footage of Harry wearing a cap. And it feels to me that she's taken Harry from some other footage and she has put him and they've done this sort of AI footage of this pumpkin patch. And now I'm not saying that I'm completely right. You know, at the end of the day, I cannot categorically 100% prove this, but I trust my instincts, and my instincts are telling me that this is what she's doing. And I feel that Harry has gone along with some things because he's got to create this lie. And I think because he's gone along with some things, she's kind of then just had free reign to do it whenever she wants. And there's probably other things that she's done that he doesn't like. Now, there was a moment when Harry was supposedly carving a pumpkin, and apparently the footage got taken down because apparently you could see the children's faces in the background. I don't believe that. I think that because the media are saying that it was taken down due to privacy and obviously her not wanting to show their faces. What I think is that she doesn't want people, if they've used actors or they've used someone else's children or they've used AI, she doesn't want anyone picking up on that. So whatever the footage was probably exposed something too much, because I think she likes to drop what we call almost like Easter eggs, like the picture of the boy with his arm green. And I know a couple of people said, is that gloves? Well, no, because it's exactly the same. It blends in with the foliage, the leaves of the pumpkins. So I think that all of this has been created and it's been AI. So it's very possible that she was out and about with, or she was doing something with Marcus, and then she's added the boy in and added Harry in. Now, again, the girl looks slightly different. And again, some people have said, yes, but how can that be? She's wearing the same kind of pajamas. Well, look, as parents, we've all bought an outfit for a child when they're younger and thought, I really like this outfit, so I'm going to buy the next couple of sizes up. If she knows that she's got to manipulate people and manipulate the world, then there's every chance that she knows that if she buys a pink pair of pajamas at, say, 2 to 3 years, then she buys another pair at 3 to 4 years. I'm not saying that's what she does, but those things can be easily explained. Like I said, you know, I know, again, some people said that Paula mentioned there was, that the girl was wearing a wig. That's very possible. You know, when you're looking at it, you can see that the manipulation is there. So is she wearing a wig? Then yeah, very possibly, and that's very well spotted. But we do know it, you know, it's so obvious to me that she's manipulating the hair color. So whether that's a wig or whether she's coloring the child's hair or whatever it is. But as you can see in the video, I show that there's one frame where the child looks older than the next frame. So I think, again, she's manipulating different footage and creating AI. Now, if you go to the end of the video, which I'm hoping that you did, you will see how easy it is to create AI. I did it. I created two AI pictures of the boy in a pumpkin patch. And that took seconds to do. So you can imagine if that took seconds and it was free to do, what they would be capable of with the money and the connections that they have to create this lie. I mean, isn't it interesting that when Miss Anne Harriman got called out for editing one of her pregnancy photographs, he was all up in arms about that, and he's gone very quiet. He even spoke out about Balenciaga, which is interesting given that Meghan has supported them. But he has now gone very quiet. He doesn't seem to do their photographs at all now, because I think it got a little bit too close to home. I think it got called out that he had edited her photographs and he thought, oh, this is a little bit too close to home. I don't want to be involved in this anymore. So I think that, again, that's what she's doing. She's finding photographs and then she's almost like superimposing her head on them and Harry's, and to create the illusion of this, look at how pregnant I was, look at how, but every now and again, she drops, and I think she does it on purpose, like the green arm of the pumpkin patch, because she's baiting the royal family. And I think what she's basically saying, without saying it, is I could expose the truth anytime I want. And this is what I believe why she's keeping Harry in line. And I think she's also using Marcus Anderson to do it. Because when you're pumpkin carving, who doesn't sit down with their children to do it? You know, you've got Marcus who doesn't even acknowledge the boy at all. When you have somebody walking up in your peripheral vision, it is instinctive to look around, unless you are purposefully not looking, maybe because you've been told not to look, or because you don't like the person, so you're purposefully, but you can see them in your peripheral vision. And it's instinctive. And even if he didn't want to look round, you'd sort of see his face maybe move slightly, but there's nothing, which makes me feel that the boy was added in. So Marcus is the real footage, but the boy was added in after to make it look as if he's there. And also, as people pointed out, he's wearing bare feet. So one minute he's running around in shoes, and the next minute he's outdoors when there's sharp objects and pumpkin pulp, and he's wearing bare feet. I think it's different footage. And then we have the lady that's supposedly Doria, but yet we get no front view of this meaning to be Doria, which makes me feel that's not Doria, that's somebody else. And because why not have it at the front? We've seen Doria plenty of times, but we haven't seen her recently. So that makes me think that Doria is not there and that they're lying. So this is all different footage that has been amalgamated together to create the lie of the pumpkin patch. But let me know, as I said, what you think of the AI and what your thoughts are of that. And if you ever pick up on anything, please let me know. Email me, because I'm always interested to see what you perceive and what you have to say about all of this. So whatever you were doing this weekend, whether you are celebrating Halloween tomorrow, or whether, you know, taking your children out, or whether you were just having a restful one, or maybe you're working, whatever it is, I hope it's a good one, no matter what. And I will see you next week in another video, because I'm sure they'll be doing something. But as always, you know that I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Don't forget to like the video. Bye-bye.